What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC video, this time for UFC Fight Night Magny versus Prates recap. We had a pretty fun card this weekend, fellas. A ton of finishes, more than I thought. I thought this card might have been a little bit boring with some of the fights we had, but largely, I would say it delivered, especially the main event. Main event was exciting for all of 4 minutes. Um, but yeah, I also wanted to say thank you guys. We reached over 100 subscribers. Very cool. Thank you to everybody who subscribed. I appreciate that a lot. Also, if you're not subscribed, why not? Why not subscribe right now? Join the cool kids club, bro. Uh, but yeah, let's jump right in. Kicking us off at women's bantamweight, Melissa Mullins took on Claudia Segula. I picked Melissa Mullins. I thought she would win a decision, but something about these prelims, man. Everybody was getting early finishes. Melissa Mullins, I said, would have a grappling advantage in this fight. Claudia Segula is completely unproven and untested. And that's exactly what happens. Melissa Mullins was able to just basically frame bully Claudia Segula in the clinch, up against the cage, got her takedowns, and just landed nasty ground and pound. Controlled her very well in the first round, and then in the second round she came out and got her takedown, and that was basically all she wrote for Claudia Segula. Ground and pound raining down from Melissa Mullins and got herself a nice TKO in round two. Great win for her. Moving up to middleweight, TreShawn Gore took on Antonio Tricoli. I picked TreShawn Gore. I believe I picked him by KO, but he ended up getting the submission with the exact same submission he used to finish Josh Fremd about 2 years ago. It was basically he got himself a standing arm in kind of power guillotine. It's a nasty ass submission that TreShawn Gore has, and he's hit it twice in a row on these taller guys. He seems really proficient with that choke, and it's a nice choke. I didn't think TreShawn Gore would grapple so much with a guy who's generally more of a jiu-jitsu guy like Antonio Tricoli. I thought he would get it done on the feet. Well, he did get it done on the feet, but you know what I'm saying. But no, Gore pushed up Tricoli up against the cage. He got himself just a nice fucking standing power guillotine in round one. There's not much to break down. He controlled him up against the cage, got himself a power guillotine, and finished him in round one. You're going to hear me say that a lot because there was a lot of first round finishes on this card. Speaking of, moving up to bantamweight, Cody Stamann took on Damon Blackshear. I picked Damon Blackshear. I believe I said Damon Blackshear. I think I picked Damon Blackshear by decision, but I said he has a really good chance of submitting Cody Stamann, and that is what happened here. Basically, start of the fight, Cody Stamann was actually looking pretty good. He had really nice hand speed, and his boxing was actually looking pretty crisp. But Damon Blackshear hit him with a nice step-in knee and hurt Cody Stamann bad, followed up with a combo and dropped Stamann. And from there, it was pretty much all she wrote. Damon Blackshear was going for a bunch of different chokes, trying to get Cody Stamann out of there. Cody Stamann was staying with it and defending as best as he could. But like I said, Blackshear has nasty submissions, man. He's got a good jiu-jitsu game. And if you're hurt, this is not the guy you want on top of you. Cody Stamann was trying to scramble up to his feet and get back up, but Blackshear had the back, got him in a rear naked choke, and finished the fight in round one. A really good win for Damon Blackshear, a good bounce back win, especially after his last fight. Moving up to welterweight, Matthew Semelsberger took on Charles Radke. I picked Charles Radke because I don't trust Matthew Semelsberger, and I'm glad I did. Charles Radke went out there. They went out there and just started swinging. Charles Radke landed a nice tight left hook, hurt Semelsberger bad, hit him with another flurry, and then caught him with another left hook, and dropped Semelsberger to a knee, and that was basically the fight. There's not much to break down. Charles Radke had the better technique on the feet, which I largely figured he would. Yeah, he knocked out Matthew Semelsberger. Bit early of a stoppage, I will say. Bit early, but, you know, saved Matthew Semelsberger from potentially just getting flatlined, so that's good, I guess, for him, if there's something to take out of that. But yeah, great win for Charles Radke. Really good performance for him. Moving up to welterweight, another first-round finish. Elezu Zaleski dos Santos took on Zach Scroggin. I picked Elezu Zaleski dos Santos because Zach Scroggin took this on short notice, and he has not that much experience against high-level guys. Credit to him for taking the fight, but this was a dangerous fight to take, obviously. Zaleski dos Santos caught him with a big right overhand in the fight. They started out going calf kick for calf kick, basically. which is basically all Scroggin has on the feet. He has an okay jab and a calf kick. Zaleski Dos Santos caught him with a giant overhand right. Scroggin just collapsed to the ground, and Zaleski Dos Santos just rained ground and pound on a Zach Scroggin, who was basically just trying to cover up and minimize damage. But he really wasn't. It didn't look like he was fighting his way out of that, or finding his way back to his feet. And the referee came in and stopped it, securing Zaleski Dos Santos a nice round 1 TKO. There's so many round 1 finishes on this card. It's hard to break down these fights because it's like, yeah, he went and finished them. Here we go. At women's strawweight, Karolina Kowalkiewicz took on Denise Gomes. If you're wondering why I keep drinking water, I just did the recap for this card already, and I talked for like 30 minutes, but I never hit record on OBS, so my throat is dry. I picked Denise Gomes to beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz by decision, largely winning the first 2 rounds by just being able to outmuscle and do more damage on the feet with more powerful strikes. And that's what happened, basically. On the feet, it wasn't really that close. Denise Gomes, Kowalkiewicz would land the odd shot or two, but whenever Denise Gomes would land, you would see Kowalkiewicz's eyes just fucking widen like, oh my god, I cannot get hit by that again. Or her head would snap back. It was just the power of Gomes, really, and the strength as well. She was able to dominate in the clinch in all 3 rounds and keep herself safe largely. There was a little bit a moment in the 3rd round where Kowalkiewicz almost got a good position against her, almost got a submission. Well, not almost got a submission, but she had a good position on Denise Gomes there. But Gomes kept herself safe and largely just dominated all 3 rounds on the feet. A lot of the rounds looked the same. Pretty tit for tat on the feet, but Denise Gomes, when she threw, she would get the big reaction. She would land the more powerful shots and largely win herself all 3 rounds. Good win for her. Getting closer probably to a ranked opponent next, I would say. Moving up to middleweight, Manser Abdul Malik took on Dusko Todorovic. I picked Manser Abdul Malik by, I believe, round 1 TKO. And that's what happened. Caught Dusko with a big shot on the feet. Dusko fell down, went for a leg lock, ate a bunch of ground and pound. Dusko got back up to his feet, and then he probably realized, oh shit, I'm still going to fucking die. And then he got dropped basically again, went for another leg lock, and then got TKO'd to ground and pound. Yeah. Manser, don't roll for leg locks. It's a bad fucking idea. You'll get your head caved in, especially when you're fighting somebody like Manser Abdul Malik, who's known for having really nasty ground and pound. So, yeah, good win for Manser Abdul Malik. I think they're probably going to cut Dusko Todorovic, honestly, after that loss. I don't think he's UFC level, really. Yeah, good one for Manser Abdul Malik, getting himself a TKO. Moving up to women's strawweight, Lana Panero took on Jillian Robertson. I picked Jillian Robertson. I thought she would get a submission win here in this fight, but she did not. This fight was a little bit closer than I thought it would be. Lana Panero showed a pretty good account of herself in the first 2 rounds. Round 1, largely very competitive, very close. I think Jillian Robertson kind of got the better of her in the grappling in round 1, but it was very close on the feet, very tit for tat. But I do think Jillian Robertson ended up winning that round just by getting in some better grappling positions than Lana Panero. In round 2, though, Panero found her striking range very well, was able to stuff pretty much all of the takedowns of Jillian Robertson, and was just circling on the outside, just popping her and peppering her with nice, clean, fast shots. And I was like, oh shit, Panero's going to win this fight if this keeps going this way in the 3rd round. Panero looked really good in the 2nd round, looked really fast on the feet, very accurate, a good takedown defense as well. Good 2nd round for Panero, but in the 3rd round, Robertson was able to get her takedown. And that was it. Once she got a good position, it was over. I mean, she just landed brutal ground and pound, throwing 12 to 6 elbows nonstop, landed big, nasty elbows on the Lana Panero, and just dominating her in that 3rd round. Panero was not able to get back up to her feet, and Robertson basically just destroyed her for the last 5 minutes of the fight, securing herself a decision on all the judges' scorecards. A good performance from her. A good kind of, I don't want to say a come from behind win because it was even 1-1 going into the 3rd, but the momentum started to get away from her in that 2nd round, and it was good to see her kind of just realign herself and get herself that 3rd round by implementing that her game plan. So good one for Jillian Robertson. Moving up to bantamweight, Gaston Banos took on Cortavius Romeus. Guys, this is the only fight we got wrong on the entire card. Almost had the sweep, one off. And these are two guys I didn't trust at all. I went with Cortavius Romeus largely because he has a grappling fold to his game. The Gaston Banos does not. But Gaston Banos, to his credit, did improve his grappling a little bit. He looked a lot safer in positions where, normally you would be like, oh shit, he's about to get submitted. He looked much safer in certain positions in the grappling. And on the feet, Gaston Banos was just landing nice shots, landing good low kicks and good body kicks, mostly were the shots he was able to find. In round 2, he landed some nice elbows on Cortavius Romeus and knees in like the last 45 seconds or so after getting controlled for like the first 4 or so minutes of that round, which apparently secured him the second round as well, which is fine. It's damage-based scoring. I also think the judges gave Banos the first round because of a cut that was caused by a headbutt, by the way. I just thought I should mention that. But yeah, Banos came back in the second round, got himself some good damage and banked himself that round. And in round 3, Cortavius Romeus. Basically, Cortavius Romeus, I think, kind of lost his fight for himself. He would get himself in good positions, and he would just rush things and then lose positions, or he would accept like a takedown shot from Banos and just kind of go to his back and I guess try and play guard. I don't know. He was making a lot of what I would say is more like novice mistakes, and just kind of rushing certain positions a little bit too much, and I think it cost him here. Good performance from Gaston Banos, though. Showed an improvement in his grappling. Showed kind of like that experience that he has in the UFC that Romeus does not. It gave him kind of a lesson there to not rush certain things like he was. I think Romeus will learn from this and probably come back better, but we will see, though. Good win for Gaston Banos. Moving up to the co-main event at middleweight, Gerald Mir took on Reinier de Ridder. I picked Reinier de Ridder by submission, and he got it deep in round 3, baby. This was a kind of your two drunk uncles fighting at the family barbecue, but this was a really fun fight, I think. It was just sloppy, and it was fun. Gerald Mir in the first round was largely getting the better of Reinier de Ridder, stuffing his takedowns, and touching him up on the feet. That wasn't until like the last 10 seconds of the round where Reinier de Ridder landed a absolute right elbow and then landed a right-left combination on Gerald Mearshardt's circle out to the left side and just basically slept him unconscious in the last like 5 seconds of the round. I thought Reinier de Ridder had literally just slept Mearshardt and walk-off TKO'd him, but he did not. Mearshardt was able to recover. And in round 2, they had a very competitive round. A lot of grappling exchanges between both guys. Very even-steven round with more kind of just like dirty clinch work and some pretty sloppy and slow striking. But in round 3, Reinier de Ridder was able to find himself the takedown and got himself into a good position. And this is what I said would separate these two guys in the grappling, is that de Ridder largely isn't that much of a pure wrestler. But if you get, he's much better than Mearshardt at finding a good position to get a submission. And once you give de Ridder like a position on you, he will submit you. He's just, for as good as Mearshardt is at getting submissions, I think de Ridder is a better submission artist. You know what I mean? I think he's just got better jiu-jitsu outright. And he kind of, Mearshardt, he kind of melted him. And Mearshardt was pretty gassed at the end of round 3. And the reason I think he was is because, like I said, my breakdown, I think Mearshardt does better against strikers. You know, when you have a guy like de Ridder who's shooting 13 takedowns on Mearshardt, and Mearshardt has to try and defend these takedowns because it's not like a, I don't know, like a Edmund Shabazian like panic shooting a takedown where you like, okay, I'll just go to my back and I'll get on top of this guy and finish him. De Ridder will finish you if you let him get those takedowns. So you must defend them. And I think that is what ended up getting Mearshardt tired and giving de Ridder the ability to just lock in a nice and easy arm triangle on Gerald Mearshardt and getting himself a 3rd round submission. Good win for de Ridder. I see a lot of people being hard on him, but he's got a really awkward style, and he does have elite jiu-jitsu grappling. And closing out the card at welterweight, our main event, Neil Magny took on Carlos Prates. I went with Carlos Prates, I believe, by round 1 KO. And that's what happened. I said Neil Magny needs to shoot for his fucking life here in the first, 2 rounds of this fight. And he was trying, to his credit. He was trying to shoot for his life. But Carlos Prates was able to keep his balance very well and not get taken down. He seemed very composed for a guy in certain positions, like you would think a pure striker like Prates would be a little bit worried in. Like there were a couple of times where I was like, ah, shit, Neil Magny might get him here. But he kept his balance, he kept his composure, and was able to fight off the grappling attack of Neil Magny. And then he was able to slowly work his way into the striking, and he began to stalk Neil Magny down, landed a nice short right elbow on Neil Magny and dropped him bad. Neil Magny was able to get back up to his feet. And then Carlos Prates once again stalked him up against the cage. Through a combo, Neil Magny went for, I think, a level change, and Carlos Prates landed this short left hand that glanced and bounced like right off of the top of like Neil Magny's head here. Like Neil Magny was looking down, and he got hit like right here. It was a very very like slight contact from that left hand, but that was all it took to put Neil Magny just stone dead face first on the canvas. Carlos Prates, it's a really good performance from him. You know, defended every single takedown and basically just beat the shit out of Neil Magny on the feet and KO'd him in round 1. And Neil Magny's a guy who can fraud check a lot of these up-and-coming prospects. So doing him like this is honestly really impressive. It's a great win for Carlos Prates. And I think his ceiling is higher than I initially thought when I first watched him fight in the UFC against Trevin Giles. I watched him on the Contender Series as well, but this guy's for real. A great win for him, man. Very composed fighter, very dangerous, very powerful, and a very good frame for the division. I hope he gets a fight on the Australia card. He called out Jack Della Maddalena or Jeff Neal. I think Jeff Neal's a bit more realistic of a fight because Jeff Neal's probably still in shape, and he just fought too, but not that much because RDA got injured in the fight. So I wouldn't mind that matchup. But yeah, great win for Carlos Prates, moving up into the rankings of welterweight, and that was UFC Vegas 100. You know, for how the card looked on paper, delivered. I would say a lot of first round finishes. A couple of fun fights in there. And yeah, it was a good card. And I'll catch you guys next time for John Jones Miocic. I wanted to say thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you to everybody who subscribes and watches my videos. I appreciate that shit. And I will catch you guys next time. See ya.